right, the first item on the agenda is the consent agenda, which is the minutes from the May 24th meeting.
I have one omission I think was made to the minutes. There's a backlogged project to build a theater, and I express displeasure with that project because we already have 3 theaters in Blue Springs, and it's a backlogged project, but still I think it ought to be included in our minutes objections to that project.
So noted. Would you make that adjustment,
Yes.
please? All right. May I have a motion on the amended minutes, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Next, we will hear the preliminary plat and the final plat together for the Brownlee Estates. We will vote on them as separate items then. Mr. Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the Commission. Before you this evening is a request for both the preliminary plat and final plat of what is being called Brownlee Estates, a unplatted lot looking to be subdivided into 3 lots. This is the site location map. The property is generally located at the southwest corner of the intersection of AA Highway and Sunnyside School Road. The zoning, as you can see there, the northern portion is currently MF14, which is moderate density multifamily residential, and the southern portion is SF7 single family residential. The entire property is about 5.17 acres in size. Hopefully this shows a little bit more clearly what's existing, some of the topography, existing trees, the general lay of the land, and the single-family residential that is currently existing to the east and to the south along Sunnyside School Road, and then to the south as well in the Autumn Chase plat. Across the street on Sunnyside is a JPW Acres plat, and also to the southwest is Blue Springs Manor South. Again, the request is to subdivide and plat 3 lots. The existing lot has never been platted. Therefore, the applicants are required to move forward with platting in order to further develop the lot. There's currently an unoccupied single-family home located on the northernmost lot, which is the proposed Lot 1. You can see there on the map. The applicant, Mr. David Smith, plans to rehab this existing house. And we do want to note that even though that lot would be wholly within MF14 zoning, single-family residential is allowed within that zoning, so rezoning is not required. Lots 2 and 3 currently are vacant. However, on Lot 3, the proposed Lot 3, you can see an existing barn. The applicants, Richard and Kendra Lee, plan to construct a single-family home on Lot 3 and remove that existing barn that you see there on the map. Lot 2, in between both Lots 1 in the north and Lot 3 in the south, is proposed to remain undeveloped at this point, but perhaps accommodate single-family residential in the future. There's a portion of multifamily at MF14 on the north part of Lot 2, and then SF7 single-family zoning in the south portion. Again, according to the applicants, the lot is intended to be utilized as a single-family lot, again, which is allowed in both districts, both zoning districts, so a rezoning is not necessary. However, staff did suggest considering that to make this a little bit more cleaner plat and make the zoning consistent with the lot lines. But again, it is not technically required to be so. Some of the aspects of platting that I wanted to highlight. focus on the landscaping as well as the stormwater detention. On page 407 of the staff report, we begin the commentary on the preliminary plat. The next page starts about the final plat. Essentially, the comments are one and the same. There's some minor terminology differences, but essentially they reference the same comments. Regarding the landscaping, the applicants did provide a financial guarantee for the completion of the required landscaping. For example, a Type B landscape buffer is required along the northern property line of Lot 1 along AA Highway, and that is indicated on the plat as a 25-foot landscape easement. The proposed landscape plan provides for the required amount of plant units for the landscape buffer, but again, the actual installation of those has been deferred with a financial guarantee that's been submitted for that. The stormwater detention is a little bit different in its current state. Our city engineer, Cesar Llanes, could perhaps answer some questions if he had questions of staff on this, but the stormwater report that was submitted was not generally acceptable in its current form. The applicants are aware of that. There's been dialogue in terms of how to make that an acceptable stormwater report, so they are in the process of doing that. Therefore, a revised stormwater report is required to be submitted and accepted prior to releasing the final plat for recording. So it was not something that was so dramatic and significant to hold up this review process, but again, it is required before the city would release it, the final plat for recording. And the final plat comments talking about stormwater management, again, it's just identified that no building permit can be issued until that final plat is recorded. So there are kind of the phases here that the applicant's aware of, and this is one of those stopping points right now for them, is to get that stormwater report in a sufficient fashion that would be acceptable to the city engineer. That is reflected in the first two conditions and staff recommendations of page 7. Again, revised stormwater report is required to be submitted and accepted by engineering prior to releasing the final plat for recording. And number 2, just identifying that language regarding maintenance. So maintenance responsibility for any and all stormwater management, detention, what have you, within the plat is the responsibility of the owners of the property. So just to identify who is responsible for that. And again, the other two conditions, number 3 and 4, are just standard conditions that we generally include as part of all plats. And with that, again, do want to acknowledge that staff does recommend approval with those 4 conditions.
Any questions for Mr. Allen? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Would the applicant like to come forward and give us a presentation if you so desire?
I'd just like to make a couple comments. I'm Richard Lee, and I'd made a revised stormwater retention report.
If you'd like to come forward so we can get into the microphone, that would help us
Try to speak up a
considerably.
little bit better here.
Thank you.
I talked with Cesar, and I'd actually given him the revised stormwater runoff report today, but I think there's still some minor language that needs to be adjusted to have him fully acceptable. So I think we're within a few days of having all the paperwork resolved, and we're wanting to put a single-family homes there and just be a good neighbor of Blue Springs.
Does anyone have any questions? All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Is there, Mr. Allen, on the rezoning issue, is there a reason why we wouldn't want to go ahead and have that rezoned, so for consistency?
That was discussed with the applicant on a few occasions. Again, there's the time, the costs involved with that they were weighing, as well as the fact that, again, it's technically, legally not required for what they're planning to do. Again, if they're looking at just a single-family residence on Lot 2, both zonings allow for that. So again, it's something just in terms of, nice, clean, and neat. It would be ideal to have that, but it's not required for what they're planning to do.
I was thinking of down the road should, for
Right,
some
and-
reason, things change.
And that was staff's
Um,
recommendation, was to consider that. So certainly it's something that they could come back for if they're looking at modifying their future plans for that lot, certainly.
All right, very good, thank you. Anyone else? Any questions, concerns, motions?
Madam Chair, I move to approve preliminary plat, PP 5, 10, 2613, and 2614, subject to 4 conditions.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. All right. Since we picked up both the preliminary and the final plat in that motion, we'll go right on then to the sign plan for Taco Bell.
Thank you. This is a request for approval of a master sign plan for 2 wall signs and 1 changeable copy menu board and 1 existing pole sign. This is for the Taco Bell located south of Highway 40. It is actually on the east side of Highway 7 and just north of Southwest Consumer Drive. Taco Bell is currently in the process of looking at remodeling the entire building, and as part of that remodel, they're looking at a new sign program, so they'll be removing the existing signs and putting up their more current type of signage with current logos. As you can see on page 3 of 5, there is a table provided. Every sign that they are proposing, as far as the size of the sign, is well within the guidelines provided in the sign code. The maximum allowed signage is 200 square feet, although 223.38 square feet is noted in the graph. They would be regulated by the minimum, which is a 200 square feet that is right now currently in the code. However, they're only proposing 189.37, so they're well within that. As noted on page 4 of 5 of the staff report, there are 3 criteria: the 10% of the building facade, the 2 square feet of signage allowed per linear foot of right-of-way, and then the 200 square feet of signage per building. Put the map up. This particular plan was provided as well in your staff report, and it goes over the wall sign located on the north facade, of course highlighted there, and the wall sign, that is the wall sign then that is located over their main entrance. They also have a wall sign being proposed on their west facade, and that particular facade would be the facade facing Southwest 7 Highway. They are proposing a menu board that is showed in that semicircular space to the west of the building, and then their existing pole sign will be modified, and that is at their far western property line. The only concern we had during review of the project was that there was some concern that the menu board was not going to be provided into a landscape area. However, they have submitted their building plans, and those have been reviewed. And with their building plans, they did provide a landscape plan. Excuse me. The menu board actually is off to the far right-hand side of the screen. And as you can see, that will be placed in a landscape area with fairly significant landscaping around it. So it certainly does meet the code. You'll note that in condition 1, we required that landscape plan. They will still need to provide that landscape plan when they submit for their standard sign permit. This particular plan was submitted with their building permit plan, so they'll have to run a copy of that and submit it with their sign plan. So we'd like for that condition to remain so that it does come with the standard sign permit and we have all the information then in one sign package. Other than that, staff does recommend approval with 2 conditions. And those conditions are noted on page 5 of 5. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Holly? I thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Quick question, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just a quick clarification. I thought we were trying to go away with the pylon signs and go down with the monument signs.
We are, and we always try to steer people towards a monument sign, but there is nothing that would prohibit them from keeping their pole sign and changing the sign face of that pole sign, as long as they don't change anything else.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Holly.
Thank you.
The representative for Taco Bell, you have anything you'd like to present?
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm Vanya Maxfield with Infinity Sign Systems. Thank you for the opportunity to come before you today. I did bring copies of the landscape design if you would like that, or we can just hang on to it and submit it with the application for the signs.
I would say it should be submitted with the
Okay.
application.
Okay.
Because, Mr. Holly, you have what, the other, that was submitted with the building, right?
I assume that's the same plan.
Okay. I really don't have anything further to add to what Mr. Holly has already said, so unless you have any questions for me.
Did you consider the monument sign? Since
Yes,
we are
I-
trying to get everyone to,
Yeah, as you pull up at the intersection that you can almost see this building from, that's really the only thing that you can see to tell you that there's a Taco Bell in the area is the pylon sign. So that shopping center kind of goes down, I noticed. I actually was checking out that area because I'm moving to Blue Springs in a couple of weeks.
good. All right. Any other questions for the applicant? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any discussion? I would entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to Taco Bell Master Alternative Sign Plan, case 934 Southwest 7 Highway, for approval
2 conditions.
with 2 conditions. Thank you.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, that brings us to other business. I know we have the final copy of the annual report. Thanks staff very much. They've done a smashing job on that. That was excellent this year. We do appreciate it. Every year gets better and better. A lot of effort goes into those.
We'll be sure to pass it on to Lisa Atkinson. She was the one responsible for that, so thank you.
Please do, thank you. The other thing, I would like to, again, thank Keith for 2 great years and working as chairman, and let you know how much we appreciate all your time.
Thank you for the support of everyone.
Any other business?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mr.
I should
Allen.
note, for the next meeting, which is stated in your agenda, 2 weeks from tonight, June 28th, I do encourage everyone to make an effort to attend. There's just one sign plan currently on the schedule for approval, but also the Sign Code Task Force is looking to come forward to give a presentation of their findings. So certainly, well, we'll try to get as much information out ahead of time as possible, but I want to encourage everybody to attend, even though it may not seem there are 5 or 6 public hearings. Nothing like that is scheduled, but certainly a lot of work has gone into that from that task force. I'm sure they'd appreciate a lot of good feedback and comments at that time. Thank you.
All right, we'll look forward to seeing everyone at that meeting. Okay, any other business to be brought this evening?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.